Today, you and I will go through a vulnerable training machine from start to finish, from the first scan to full control of the system. But this isn't about breaking into anyone. It's about finally understanding exactly how an attacker travels from an ordinary web page to administrator rights, and which specific mistakes let them do it. Once you've seen an attack from the inside, you'll stop being afraid of the word hacking and start seeing in your own systems exactly the holes an attacker looks for. I'll explain not just what to type, but why it works that way, the way it's taught on good courses. Grab a coffee, this will be dense and to the point. And the most important thing before we begin. Everything I show is done only on special training machines which exist precisely to be attacked legally for practice, platforms like HackTheBox, TryHackMe, HackMyVM, or your own virtual machines on your home computer. Never, under any circumstances, apply this to systems that aren't yours without the owner's written permission. This isn't mischief, it's a criminal offense. We study the attack with one single goal: to understand how we get broken into so we can learn to defend. That's the essence of ethical hacking. Think like an attacker, but act like a defender. Deal? Then let's go. Remember this map, it barely changes from machine to machine. First, recon, we look at which doors are even open. Then enumeration. We examine every door and search for what isn't in plain sight. Next, we find a leak, a forgotten file, a database dump, someone's credentials. Then we get our first foothold in the system. And at the end, we escalate privileges to the top user, root. 90% of the work is not magic and not genius exploits, but patient, careful reconnaissance. Whoever looks more carefully is the one who beats the machine. Let's go step by step. Step 1. Recon. Every attack starts with a single question. Which doors of this machine are even open? With the map scanner we ask about the ports, and the flags -SC and -SV tell it not just to find an open port, but to identify which service sits behind it and which version. The version is gold. With it we'll later find known vulnerabilities. Here we see the classic pair, port 22 is SSH, remote login, and port 80, the website. Since there's a website, that's exactly where we start. Step 2. Enumerating the site. The home page is usually empty. Everything interesting is hidden in directories that nothing links to. So we brute force them from a word list. The gobuster tool takes a list of typical folder names and quickly checks which ones actually exist. The dir flag is directory mode, the -w flag is the path to the word list, and the -t flag raises the number of threads to make it faster. And there it is, we find a hidden folder that wasn't in any menu. It's exactly in these forgotten corners that all the problems live. Step 3. The leak. Inside the folder we found, we stumble onto a backup of the site, and inside it, a database dump. This is a very common and very dangerous admin mistake. Leaving a backup right inside the site's public folder. We open the dump and look for the tastiest thing, the accounts. And here they are, the username manager and its password. But the password isn't in plain text, it's a hash, a long fingerprint string. It won't work directly. So the next step is to turn that fingerprint back into a password. Step 4. Cracking the hash. It's important to understand that a hash is a one-way street. It's easy to get a hash from a password, but going back mathematically is impossible. So cracking isn't decryption, it's guessing. We take a huge dictionary of popular passwords, hash each one and compare it to ours. A match means the password is found. We do this either locally with the hashcat tool, or, if the hash is simple, through the ready online service crack station, where billions of variants are already pre-computed. And here's the defensive lesson. A weak password cracks in seconds, so unsalted hashes and simple passwords are a death sentence. Step 5. Finding a known hole. We have a login and password. We sign into the site's admin panel and see which engine it runs on and which version. And then, the most important move, we search whether someone has already found a vulnerability in this version. A tool that searches a local exploit database returns a list of ready-made holes. and we find just what we need, an arbitrary file upload vulnerability. In plain terms, the engine lets us upload our own file to the server, including a malicious one. That's our ticket inside. Step 6. Getting access. The idea of a reverse shell is this: we don't break into the machine from outside. On the contrary, we make it connect to us. First, on our own machine, we start a listener with the netcat tool. It waits for an incoming connection on a chosen port. Then, through that same upload vulnerability, we drop a small script that, when run, makes a reverse connection back to us. The server triggers our file, and its command line appears in our terminal. That's it, we're inside the system. The first thing we do next is upgrade the shell to make it full and comfortable. Step 7, and the sweetest one, privilege escalation. Right now we're inside, but as an ordinary limited user. The goal is to become root, the all-powerful administrator. The first thing we ask, what are we allowed to run as root with the command sudo-l? Second, we look for programs with a special bit that runs them with someone else's higher rights. And third, if doing it by hand is tedious, we run an automatic scanner that gathers every possible path upward by itself. Most often some small thing sticks out, a forgotten checkbox, an old program, and that's exactly what lifts us to root. We grab the final flag, the machine is beaten. Now let's turn all of this toward defense, because that's what we're learning for. Look, every one of our steps is someone's specific mistake. An extra open port, close the services you don't need. A forgotten backup in the site folder, never keep backups in a public location. A weak password and an unsalted hash, use long passwords and modern algorithms. An old engine version with a known hole, update on time. Excessive rights for programs, give the minimum necessary. The attacker walks this map, and you, knowing it, simply remove every step from their path. And that's the whole path. Recon, enumeration, loot, foothold, and privilege escalation. Once you understand this logic, you'll see it on any machine and, more importantly, in your own systems. Practice only on legal platforms, don't rush. A real machine takes not minutes but hours and days, and that's normal. If you want a step-by-step breakdown of a specific machine, write in the comments which one. Subscribe to the channel, it gets even more interesting from here, and remember, knowledge of the attack exists to build the defense. Take care and see you next time.